to the Tomahawk. Today I have a special guest with us. His name is the Chicago Brushlion, back with us. Good to have you, buddy. How are you?
Good to talk to you too, pal. Rep for Shy.
So, have you been watching the playoffs?
Yeah, I've been able to catch a couple of games. It's been a pretty good surprise for some of these series. So
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, I had some predictions going wrong in the bracket stuff, but, it's been decent hockey, and, I feel like, I feel like I miss the days the Hawks were in it, man. Like, it's not the same without your team, but,
yeah,
they, hopefully we're there in the next 3 to 4 years. That's the plan, and I think they added a nice piece, a nice extension to Vlasic. 6 years at $4.6 million. I think for a stay-at-home defenseman, that's a good price. I think both parties probably think they won that, and that's a good thing. You want to keep the kid happy, and his numbers aren't there, but he's a stay-at-home defenseman. His plus minuses, averaged about -4 to -7. I think I saw.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's on a horrible team. He's been on a horrible team since he's been here. I think that's pretty damn good.
yeah. I think it's a team friendly deal for Pickles. I think traditionally they want to the team can get maybe a little carried away, a little heavy handed on offering bigger, feeling pressured to put bigger money on the offer sheet, or a little bit too long in the tooth on a deal. So I feel like they gave him a reasonable enough deal to kind of let him prove where he can go. Now I don't know what the incentives are, how laden that is for the contract, but I think they got a team friendly deal. So I mean, there's enough open cap on that team to where they can still get creative, but I think it's a team friendly deal.
I'm with you. I think that Davidson kind of spent a little bit. He kind of overpaid, obviously, for Foligno, Dickinson, and Mrazek, which I thought Mrazek might have been the best Blackhawk all season, not named Connor Bedard. And I think he is a good guy to have a net until you figure out what's going on. Soderblom was kind of yeesh. When he faced the Leafs, he was 2-0. I don't think he will be. I think that they've seen enough. I like that they gave him a fair shot. I'm a goalie guy, as you know. I like that they gave him a shot. They threw him in situations to see. And too bad we didn't play the Maple Leafs every game, because he was 2-0 against them. He looked good.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Comesso. I think he's ripping it up in Rockford. The Ice Hogs are also in the playoffs, and I think they lost last night.
Yeah.
But I heard Lucas Reichel's been good, and it makes me happy because I love that kid. I see a lot of potential in him. I don't know about you, but I think he should be a top 6 guy on this team next year.
I think that they keep working on that aggressiveness and getting out there playing smart. I think you can kind of see he's going to show what the team saw in him maybe a little bit more.
That last game, man, he was good.
Yeah, and I think now is the time too, because he needs a little more leash to show that he can do it consistently before they kind of have to make a do or die judgment on the kid.
Did you think his leash was tighter than the other guys? I thought he had the tightest leash. And,
I think so too.
I don't get it. I really don't. Yeah,
he was in the doghouse.
One thing I don't like for sure. They sent him down, and he handled it like a pro, dude. There was no crying, no whining. Like a lot of these new kids are. They want to be instantly on the first line. After that rookie entry contract, they want to jump from $950K to $8 million, and you know what? The problem is that they get it, and the other ones see that too. Like, oh, they're throwing money around, and I don't think Reichel's going to be like that. I think he's going to get a good bridge deal.
Yeah,
and I'm excited for him. Obviously, your boy Frankie.
Yeah.
They called him up. He scores a goal on his first shot. We got some good young guys coming up. And I remember we were getting live updates from you, and I was posting them. Or our on ice rink reporter.
I did. It worked out great.
I gave you the creds. I gave you the creds on that.
Appreciate that. The Chicago handshake budget that night was very generous.
So yeah, the check's in the mail. I don't know how much it is, but it should be on its way.
Does the mail deliver to the bush anymore? I don't know. We'll find out.
Email maybe. But so let's jump into the playoffs. We'll start with the East. We'll start with your favorite, Toronto Maple Leafs, taking on the Boston Bruins. The Bruins currently lead the series 3-1. A lot of stuff happened last night. The Leafs, they just can't find it, and you got to credit Boston. I'm not a Boston fan at all, but they're bringing it to them. They're in their heads, and the top dogs in Toronto they're not soaring, and the pitchforks are out for Mitch Marner. And I don't know why it's just him, because Matthews, he's got one goal. He had 69 in the season. He's got one goal in 5 games. I'm sorry, 6 games. No, 5 games. 5 games. And that's not enough, dude. This is your top dog. And it's like this every year, man. Like Mike says, it's the same thing every year. And now I don't know if you saw, I put out a tweet today saying I liked the frustration Mitch Marner showed on the bench, throwing his gloves, and people act like they've never seen that before. I've seen goalies break sticks over the bench, over the crossbar. I've seen players throw water bottles down. I've seen to slam their helmets, break their sticks, and it's like Mitch Marner throws his glove. Wow, what a baby! I'm the opposite, man. I like the intensity, and it shows that he gives a shit. And I think that if they're going to run him out of town, dude, that's a mistake. They've already run out guys that are having great careers on other teams. Zach Hyman, the dude scored 50 goals this year. Yes, he's playing with McDavid, but he still shot the puck and across the goal line 50-something times. So I think they're making a big mistake, and I don't know why the Marner hate, because I'm a big fan.
Well, listen, I think in general, like my critical fan bases, it seems, over the interwebs. I mean, I think top 3 have to be Edmonton, Toronto, and Montreal. I mean, they're some of the most insufferable folks on the planet. It's high school, So any reaction
that's all they got, man.
You receive from the internet, it's the armchair quarterback, quarterbacks just throwing their philosophies out there. And unfortunately, it's even that way, I think, within the organization in Toronto, because, all right, you've had personnel leave, their GM left for Pittsburgh, right? And, they had that
no, they let him go. Yeah, let this go. He said he doesn't want any other job. He'll never work in the NHL if it's not for the Leafs, which was a lie, because he went to Pittsburgh. And his first big mistake was getting Erik Karlsson. So I think that, I know what you're getting at, but go ahead.
I mean, I just, for that, like, you've had personnel leave. They put, and that personnel that was there, they put them in a good position, or they should have, on paper, they should have been a lot stronger than they were, and they still fledgled. Now that has moved, you have a little bit tweaked the team, still got people in there, and the big names that are supposed to be, producing, the score sheet goes quiet. And again, it's just sort of, so it's like, all right, they're going to struggle to work their way through. At least you see this outburst on the bench there and all that. It shows these guys still care. They're still checked into the game. They're not checked out. So then where's the big deal? Where's it coming from? It's coming from the peanut gallery. Somebody always knows better, right? And so it's just at what point, do you have to just be like, well, we got to scrap it and start all over again? Because who's really, like, if you're paying these guys big money and they're not coming together, or it's not working out, then you have to start, go back to the drawing board, start all over again, right? I mean,
well, absolutely. I mean, I was just going to ask you, like, so what's the solution? You got to let Marner go? Because it seems like the city is all Marner's efforts terrible. And you see Willie Nylander say, "Stop crying, bro." But This is a guy that wasn't playing for the first 3 games because he had migraines.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody's
okay.
calling somebody soft. Calling somebody
Yeah.
soft. Like, really?
I get headaches too. I take a pill and I go to work. And okay.
Yeah. Well, that's where again where your body of work is. Where your body of work is going to show that, all right, you're worth keeping around, or or if you got a big mouth or you're not producing, then you got to go. Yeah.
He just got big bucks, and he's going to be around for a long time. And I hear 50% of that fan base that I've interacted with today don't like Nylander. The other 50 don't like Marner. And Marner is, I think he's going to be a free agent next season. So it sounds like he's going to be the odd man out on this one, because you're not going to move Nylander now. He's the highest, most valuable contract in Leafs history. He shows up in the playoffs, but okay, what? He shows up for 7 games.
Well, I mean, would you say that he's there, the Toronto's Brian Bickle? I mean, I know we can speak in players that we can relate to as local fans. That Bickle got that big contract there at 1 year, and the man was pretty much a ghost in the regular season, but he would show up in the playoffs when it counted. So I mean, he earned his paydays through the postseason. I mean, is he the
well? If you look at Nylander's stats, he's a point a game guy. I give him credit, but during the season, it's a different animal, or the playoffs, it's a different animal.
Yeah.
I mean, look at these guys. Matthews he almost hit 70. He's got 1 now. Yeah, he's playing against a good team, but who are you playing a lot? And your division, you're playing the Senators a lot. They're not that good. They're playing the Canadians. They're kind of a couple years ahead of the Hawks. And, Matthew. I think Matthews. This might be a weird take, but I think Ovechkin is going to pass Gretzky eventually. But I think Ovechkin won't hold it that long, because I think Matthews is going to be the greatest scorer of all time. He's just got a great shot. He can find the back of the net very easy. Great release.
Yeah.
But the dude hasn't made any noise in the playoffs. And you look at Gretzky, 4 Stanley Cups, probably Conn Smites, I'm sure. I mean, the dude he had 50 goals in 50 games, 45 games, I think, a couple times. Dude's a monster. And, Ovi's got 1 cup, barely. I think they barely won it that season.
Yeah.
But he still got it. But the way Matthews is going, he's going to be lucky to leave the second round of the playoffs if they ever make it. So it's hard. You look at the core, you got to keep Morgan Riley. He's a good, solid defenseman for him. You got to keep Matthews, because he's a scorer. And they don't come around a lot.
No, he's a cornerstone player for him.
Same with Nylander. He's a point a game guy. Mitch Marner is a point a game player, but another underrated thing about him, he's got a great plus minus. He's really good in both ends of the ice, and I think that's a huge mistake. That's like the Kane and Taves of the Leafs, and they got the stuff ain't going right now. But the main problem, I think, for the Leafs right now is the goaltending.
Yeah.
They haven't had a legit starting goalie, and you might laugh at me, since maybe Freddie Anderson and Eddie Belfour from 2004.
Yeah, no, I was thinking the same thing, but you were probably going to go for it. Yeah.
How many goalies have come and gone? It's been crazy.
It's a revolving door up there. Usually that's
Samsonov is not that good. Matt Murray they brought in, he was a bust. They got these other guys coming. What's his name? Campbell. They had, which I liked him, but he struggled. They let him go. Freddie Anderson was a good goalie, but the injuries I think Toronto didn't want to deal with it, and he goes to Carolina. Same thing, getting hurt at the worst times. Mm-hmm. And since then they've been they're so top heavy up front. They're not spending any money for goalies, and you know what? Yeah. I think it's hurting them, because sometimes you need that goalie to steal you a game, and they're not going to get that with this guy Samsonov.
Well, absolutely. That seemed like that was a lot of the similar argument can be said for Carolina there. I mean, even even maybe now. I mean, just you might have a revolving door of 1A and one B, but still, that do you have enough to steal a game or somebody to come in clutch when you need it, when your back end guys are having an off night,
Yeah. But yeah, and you're not going to score every night. Some games are going to be 2-1, 1-0 even. That's playoff hockey. I love it.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
But I think Mitch Marner is going to be the odd man out, and I'm sure they're going to want to trade him, which is risky to me.
Oh yeah,
I would not trade for Mitch Marner unless he is going to re-sign with my team. So, say Davidson's going to make an offer like, "Hey, I'm going to give you a first-round pick. I'm going to give you a prospect, but I want to know if he's going to sign a 6-year, 7-year extension with me. If not, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to trade for a rental."
Yeah.
But I could see a team going for it and trying. Or if I'm Mitch Marner, I would say I'm going to just test free agency and leave for free and not do anything for these guys if they think that I'm the problem. Because I think Mitch Marner is... At one point, I thought Mitch Marner was the best player on that team. Matthews he needs a guy to set him up the puck and, create space for him. And I thought Marner he's very underrated. He's kind of living in the shadow of Matthews, 60 goals, 70 goals, all that stuff. And
yeah,
he's a solid player, man.
Oh, without a doubt. So yeah, if they decide they want to move on, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of teams that are going to be definitely making inquiries on him.
Yeah, and if he is a free agent, if he reaches UFA status, I hope that Davidson, makes a call at least and gets the Hawks out there, like say, "Hey, we got a kid, Connor Bedard, who could shoot the puck like Austin Matthews."
Yeah,
and you'd look pretty damn good feeding it to him. And they're both creative players, and I think if you got a 1-2 punch guy set up like these guys, the Hawks are going to be good instantly. That first line is going to be instantly good.
Yeah,
and I'd
you
be
definitely
super
need to
excited
kick the
if that
tires.
happened.
Yeah, you definitely need to kick the tires on it,
Get your name out there and, just put the Hawks on the map again. A big signing like that'll do it. Like Brian Kimball, we brought him in. People really started taking the Hawks serious. And we'll get there one day. Hopefully, it'd be pretty cool if it ended up being Marner. We'll look back and say, "Hey, we talked about it that day."
Yeah,
so
I think there's a few Canadian players that would look good when their contracts come up playing for the Hawks. In fact, I think I was having even a discussion about Davidson to somebody here in the last day or two, kind of explaining like I'm 50-50 on the guy still. Like everybody wants to have a tendency in the fan base to want to really just shower the praise right away, but I mean he's still. He's done some moves that have been a steal, but other ones that are kind of like just a wet fart. And but yet also too, like he's got nobody on the team and a wide open payroll. Like you haven't seen the financial number crunching yet. How it's tough to you have a couple contracts that are big and they're pressing in. Like what do you do? What do you do? He hasn't been really battle tested yet, so the jury's still kind of out, but.
Yeah,
I was a little.
You can't crown the guy. Yeah,
and I was a little disappointed in him in the trade deadline here, anyways, this past year, just because instead of just sitting tight and just sort of sitting on your hands, it would have been nice if he had actually there'd been made waves that said, "Oh, he was inquiring on somebody," or he was looking at this. Like at least you're proactively showing that you're trying to make your team better, as opposed to just sitting on your hands to say, "Oh, well." We're still a couple years down the road, and
we're staying the course.
Yeah, staying the course. Like, give a little action for it. We get it. We're not going to be as. Hopefully, you're going to sell yourself as an organization that's learned from the past, and that you're going to financially be more responsible in the contractual realm. But you got to try to make your team better. He said he's going to be active. So
he said he's going to be active this summer, which we'll see.
Yeah.
And as for the trade deadline, we really didn't have a lot to offer. We didn't really. Honestly, the only guy valuable was Mrazek, and he just signed that 2-year extension.
Yeah.
I think Mrazek was more important to him to have little security and term. And, I don't mind him being here and kind of, face it, if it wasn't for him, some games it would be like 17-1. The guy played great.
It pains me to say that too, because I am not, you know me, I'm not historically a fan of his at all. In fact, and I think he even said it himself in an expose that, you know, if it wasn't for the Hawks, he probably wouldn't even be in hockey. And so I'm like, fully agree. We gave him a real charity on signing him and giving him a shot, because our backs are so far, the team's back was so far against the wall, they had no other choice. But, you know, he was obviously the better option of the two this year, especially when he managed to stay healthy for a bulk of the year. But I'd like to see him not rush Comesso. I'd like to see Stauber maybe come up and back up, because I know he's been good, looked good. I went to a preseason game early on when they were playing the Wolves. The Hogs were playing the Wolves, and I think he got called in, and he looked pretty good. So he's already played a few games, battered games in with the big club. So I'd like to see him, you know, maybe come back up and see. But yeah, don't rush the talent. But I mean, there's enough people to where you could bring somebody in to get tutored and until you know whatever else happens for the future. But I mean, it would be a good progression.
Yeah, totally with you. I can't wait to see the goaltending prospects come up and get a shot. But let's jump over to the Battle of Florida. The Florida Panthers are up 3-1. I thought for sure, well, it could still happen. I had Tampa in 7. They're, you know, obviously battle tested, and Tampa's had, you know, the Panthers' number for the last couple seasons, and you know, I think they got lucky last year. They didn't have to. The Panthers didn't run into Tampa. Yeah, and you know, they obviously they made it to the final. A lot of people think they're going to be the champions, which they have a good team. Matthew Tkachuk leading the way with 7 points. Wow. On the other side, Steven Stamkos, the captain. Dude, there's rumors of him not re-signing with Tampa. I cannot see him in another uniform. I can't.
I'm curious. I mean, I would be interested, you know, the things that have been said, you know, that have been reported. Yeah, I'm curious to see how that's going to play out. It'd be weird, but then again, there's been plenty of players like, you know, even like Ray Bourque. He never thought he would not be a Bruin, and he came in able to win.
Crazy.
So you never know. But this has been a series that shocked me a little bit too, because even though I've been picking the Cats in this series. They're kind of a new look Cats too, because they've lost some players like Budist, and so it's interesting to see how this one shakes out.
They added at the deadline. They added. They got Tarasenko, which I thought was a good move, a good top 6 guy. Sam Reinhart had a great season this year, 50 goals. He's leading the team right now with 3 goals. Stamkos leading with 5. He had a hat trick last game. The guy's the ultimate captain, dude. You got to put him up there with Taves. Mm-hmm. He's blocking shots with an open net, playing goal. I don't know if you saw that clip.
I did see that one.
He was in the goalie stance. Yeah. This a guy like, man, you absolutely want on your team, and he is the Tampa Bay Lightning, dude. I think he'll go down, him and Kucherov, the greatest Lightning players of all time, with, you know, Marty St. Louis, Vinny LeCavalier, stuff, guys like that.
Yeah.
Victor Hedman too. He's leading the team in assists with 6. Nice. And obviously Vasilevsky. Here's a crazy stat for you.
Okay.
He is 5-1 in elimination games.
Ooh.
Vasilevsky. And I think the first loss came last year. I think it was against the Leafs, believe it or not. But
yeah. It's amazing to see how far he's grown too. I mean, I remember
the big cat.
Well, wasn't he in net when he collided with somebody, or with Hedman or
Sharpie, right?
For the Sharpie goal back in 2015.
Sharpie with the open netter. Yeah, he was. I remember Ben Bishop. He did not play that game, and they called up this kid. He ended up winning that game, Vasilevsky. Yeah. So he very good goalie. He's playing his Russian counterpart Bobrovsky, who's having a great playoff, man. He had a awesome desperation goal. Save.
That easily the save of the playoff so far, I think. That's
save of the year, maybe.
Oh, man.
Just
enough.
So
just enough
I hope this goes 7. It's got to go 7, man. This is it's very good hockey between these guys. I love the rivalry. Yeah. I see Stamkos. I think Stamkos actually had a reverse hit on Tarasenko, and he's pretty much mouthing him, what are you going to do about it, bitch? That's what you saw. And I was like, dude, I love this guy. So I hope it goes 7, but I 3-1 lead's going to be tough for Tampa. But hey,
Yeah.
they can do it. That's the team that would probably end up coming back. And, I hope that they do.
Yeah, you can never say never, especially the way how they're coached too. Like it's not over until it's over. So.
Yep. So, all right, we'll jump over to the Islanders and the Carolina Hurricanes. Patrick Waugh finally got his first win with the Islanders, first playoff win. It was an OT. Yeah. Matthew Barzal got the goal, putting him on the board. I don't know, man. I don't know how in the hell that this team made the playoffs. They're just so incredibly boring. Nashville East, I like to call them.
Yeah, very.
Yeah,
very.
But,
I watched that game too, and just Carolina just came in strong there to finish to put it into overtime and just fell asleep in that first overtime. It just sort of Brindamore was just chewing. Yeah. He was just chewing through his tongue there on the bench, and it was
Did you see the one game the Islanders were up or 3-0, I believe? The Canes came back and scored 4 and stole the game. I thought, you know what? These guys are done. These guys are toast. I mean, how can that happen in a playoff game? You cannot. Patrick Waugh must have lost his freaking mind on those guys. But you give them credit; they came back the next game and they're still alive. The brooms were put away. Yeah. The Islanders. I don't know. A lot of people, Twitter. There's a lot of Hurricane fans on Twitter. There's some good ones. They're friendly, but they always think they're getting cheated, and they're what I mean. They're not exciting. I don't think they have a superstar. I think they have a great solid lineup. Good playoff built team.
Yeah,
they're lacking the sexiness. Who do you think there's a super? Me and Mike always talk about this. Who's the superstar on that team? Aho? Is it Burns? Like who is it? I don't know. I mean they're just gritty and a good, well built team, and I think that's fine. Yeah. It works for them.
Absolutely. I mean even towards the end of the season, there you're one, and they had healthy scratched Teravainen in their turtle pants. Yeah, Turbo. I mean,
Turbo.
Like what are you doing? Like let's just get this kid, get out there and shine. But yeah, it's exactly outside of the quirky post game celebrations. Like, yeah, you're right. There's no real edge to that team. Just sort of like, okay, they're expected to. No, I'm not. I think that is minor league. Yeah. Very minor league stuff.
It seems a little minor league-ish. Yeah, I think it's great. I like the old school salute the crowd type of thing. Maybe get a little excited, but
yeah,
it's kind of themed. It's got there's a little bit of theme stuff going on. Yeah. So I still think it's going to be.
You hold your critical.
It's over though. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, you hold the criticalness to it all because you get it like it's a small market team, and you like whatever floats their boat, I guess. And
it works. But yeah, it works for them. They're
for
passionate
them,
fan base.
So, hey, yeah, they want to play along. Cool.
They got the next test for them is next round. They have to get past the next. They have to make the Eastern Final. They have to. And I think that they're going to win this first round, no problem. They'll probably win next. They'll win in 5. They should win in 5. But next round will be the
Rangers,
test. So. Well, yeah. So let's jump to the Rangers. They're currently up 3-0 in the series, going for the broom tonight. Actually, they're up 3-2 with 12 minutes to go. Yeah, 12 minutes to go. Let's see if they can hold on. Just clearly are the way better team. The Caps. Honestly, man, I don't think they have any business even being in the Cup. It was such a weird last week of the season. I felt like Detroit didn't want it. Pittsburgh wanted it a little bit, but then they didn't want it. And then the Caps kind of, okay, we'll go. We'll play another week. So they're clearly outmatched, and it's cool. Good for Ovi for getting in there. But yeah,
sure.
I think it's gonna end tonight as we speak, probably.
Yeah, definitely. Which is gonna sour all the major media sports writers that they have to write another week about Matt Rempe and how much of
Let's get into
just a
that.
real black eye he is, isn't he? He's such a real bad seed.
Thank you for reminding me about this one. All right, so I think that this kid has been a factor since game one. The media, as you know, they are so soft. They are failed political aspiration writers, and they come to a sport and they try to get a little political. And oh no, there's no place in hockey for that type of thing. Well, guess what, guys? It's always been that way, and it's actually hitting is almost virtually done. I don't see too many big hits like that anymore. The playoffs, it comes alive again, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
But during the season, there is no hitting. You'll see a guy skate full speed to a guy and literally just turn the last second. It's like, what? Why don't you just finish your check on him? At least take him out of the play. And, it's just virtually gone. Yeah, I mean, just finish the checks and do your job. And I think Matt Rempe has been good. I think he's got his first goal in the first game of the series. Yeah. But the main thing we're going to talk about here is that last hit he had on TVR. Trevor Van Riemsdyk, former Blackhawk. So you go first. I probably know where you're going, but you go ahead, get it off your cat chest.
I will here stretch out, crack my paws here, and cut into this one. So I'm being able to hear on the interwebs, and I've been following a little bit of people's view, and apparently, people do not have a strong grasp on basic physics. People say, believe the science in physics. When you coming down on somebody, you're playing the puck, they're playing the puck, and you're coming in full speed, and the defending player has to be aware of his surroundings. You have to come in with your head up, and you don't come into a corner steep. You have to come wide. TVR should have been very aware, or his teammates should have also been letting him know one on. Somebody has to be aware of your situational awareness for that. So for Rempe to come in full speed and playing the puck and only left his, now I should also stop here for a minute and also explain that people were also explaining, he left his skates. Oh, it was a clear headshot. Okay, Rempe also has about 3 inches on TVR, and he's coming in. When you make contact, shoulder to shoulder contact with somebody, inertia will carry you. So if you made direct contact with him, he's going to leave his skates by impact. And I think perfect clean hit. There wasn't any changing of the levels to leave the feed. It was just bam, clean hit, and he was still trying to play the puck. So for me, at least, I think that's a clean hockey hit. And it's clean because watching long enough, you can tell that what is clean is not like a Rafi Torres type headhunt. But also too, it seems so, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's so rare to see a hit like that. Not only because it's playoffs where it means a lot more, but because you don't see it in the regular season with a lot of the players coming in and, playing a lot of chicken there at the, like getting close and swerving off. And even as they're being brought up in the league, there's not a lot of giant hits like that. So when it means something, you see good hits like that, it's such a rare rose. Everybody loses their minds. They don't know what to do with it. But again, long story short, I thought that was a clean hit. And I'll turn it back to you.
Well, yep. I completely agree. And I think you said it well. Like, as a defenseman, you have to be aware of where you're at. And I think we were talking before we started recording, and I mentioned Johnny Oduya with the Blackhawks when we brought him in at both deadlines. It seemed like that dude would hold on to the puck so long, get rid of it and get absolutely hammered. But he knew it was coming because it's almost like he was baiting the guys to get out of position so he can get an open wing or something. But TVR, he had his back turned, and it looks like Rempe actually slowed down a little bit and had to lower down because he's so freaking massively tall.
Yeah.
And he did not leave his feet. I mean, you got all these people on the Twitter pausing it and, pause it there. Let me take a picture and circle the ice. Okay, like you said.
I made sure to watch that play, a bunch.
Yes.
It's just, I couldn't see what other people were lambasting, so I had to drag.
Dude, they're not hockey people. They're people who have never even put skates on, I'm sure. I can't believe it. I even said, I can't believe, do all you people apply for the NHL safety department just so you can critique every hit? I've never seen so many experts that never even played.
Yeah.
I wanted to make a poll. How many people have ever been hit, given a hit, or even played hockey? I guarantee you that, no one would vote because they'd be so upset and soft, but I guarantee you none of them even played hockey. So they should just watch the game. Enjoy a good hit when you see it. That was a good hit, and they called interference on him. Come on, guys! Yeah. And the TNT panel said all those guys.
Yeah,
Biz, Liam, I think Anson Carter,
even Gretzky,
and the great one himself.
Yeah,
that was a clean hit, absolutely clean hit.
That guy's all about it. Yeah.
Oh God, they're all. I mean, I'm not a fan of Biz. I think he's, he's not a. I think he's funny at times, but too much, like a tryhard a little bit. But he's good. He's good for TNT. He's bringing in. He's like the Charles Barkley of the show. Really? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good analogy there. Yeah,
it works. But he's honest. I like that. At least he's honest.
Yeah.
But I think the Rangers are going to take this series, and I think Matt Rempe's legend will continue to grow.
Absolutely, and I think I think with Rempe too. Last bit on Rempe is, I think with him it's also too is that he's also a skilled player. People forget that he's a skilled player besides being a big body. It's just it also happens during the
puck in the net.
Well, it's building his legend too. Is that much like kind of the older late like '90s style hockey? The other teams know they're going to have to account for him, so they're offering up their tough guys. To defend,
they're trying to match him. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so it's match for match. So it's not he's going around being a goon, maybe being an agitator, but it's also being counter offered. So let's not act like he's Rempe's is the bad guy who's coming out here being just a instigate looking to start it all. The other teams are playing puck too. So I mean, it's just and it's must see TV.
I think next round should be good. If whatever series the Rangers are, whoever they play, it's going to be good. And we got to credit the bread man. He's showing up this year.
Yeah,
which I'm happy for him. I love the bread man. Shesterkin's a great goalie, and you know what's great about Shesterkin? What I think made Shesterkin a better goalie this year was having Jonathan Quick behind him. I've talked to Mike about this a lot. That was the smartest move you could do because you got a solid guy who could take the workload off of this guy. Now this dude's like he's healthy. He's not tired.
Yeah,
he's rested, and that's because of Quick. Quick's he's been a great goalie for those guys, and I think he recently got an extension too. But I think that made Shesterkin a better goalie.
Absolutely. So
these guys are most likely going to get the sweep tonight. Hopefully, we just didn't jinx them. But
exactly. We didn't say the magic word, so we're good.
We'll jump over to the West, which I'm not too crazy about the West this year, but we got to cover them. So we'll start off with Vegas and the Dallas Stars. Vegas is up 2-1. The bad guy, Mark Stone, the Kevin Nash meme of him sitting in the wheelchair has returned. But dude, he's not the story to me. It's Eichel quietly playing under the radar. He's got leading the team with 5 points, 2 goals, 3 assists. This guy's good. Yeah. And I feel like he's overlooked because of the McDavid draft. He was number 2.
Yeah.
It didn't work out in Buffalo. They move him over to Vegas, and this guy's been quietly a good player for these guys.
Yeah, no, all the pressure's off, to be the main attraction. So kind of come in and able to put your head down and put some work in. It seems to be showing for him out there.
So in my picks, man, I picked Dallas to face the Oilers in the West. I just thought it would work out that way, but
Yeah.
I'm really surprised Dallas dropped their first two at home.
Yeah.
There's one guy on that team who I'm pulling to get his name on the cup. I want this guy to win. It's Joe Pavelski.
Yeah.
I think he's a playoff monster. He's good pro. I just can't believe every time I talk about him, I go to this. How did the Sharks and Doug Wilson let him go? I just don't understand. As soon as they let him go, they signed Carlson. It just went all downhill. I don't get it.
And that definitely speaks on the organization, because there's been plenty of bigger players that have played good for them that they've sort of, juggled or bobbled. It's just been kind of awkward there. But I don't. Is Doug Wilson even part of the organization there?
Not anymore. My career is the new GM. He's got a new vision. I credit him for getting rid of Carlson. That had to be hard. $13 million a year. We go back to Dubas and Pittsburgh. They brought him in, and that totally killed the team, I think, because you got Letang and Carlson on one team just doesn't make sense. You can only have one.
Especially for guys that just out. Under Carlson being under producing, had that gnarly plus minus on the minus side there, and Letang just being being.
I think he was a plus
hurt.
though. He was a plus this season.
Oh, wow.
We can get into that Norris debate later, but I think if you're a defenseman and you finish a minus, you don't deserve to even be considered for it.
Yeah, no,
no one cares about the plus minus anymore, except me, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. It's silly.
So who do you think's going to come out on top? Do you think the Golden Knights win the next game, or do you think Dallas ties it up?
Ooh, guys, for the sake of keep watching playoff hockey, I'd like to see them tie it up and keep the intense series going. It's more enjoyable to watch those series that you kind of don't. You might have a favorite, but you just enjoy it going the distance on there, just because nothing likes a good war of attrition. The cut and dry ones are fun and all, but you need a good every bracket or two. You need that good solid
close games, man.
Yeah, you do.
Really close games. 4-3, 3-1. The last one was 3-2 overtime win for Dallas. So there's really no blowouts here. It's good hockey. I think Dallas is going to wake up. Jason Robertson's. See, this team, they got a good goalie, Jake Ottinger. They got good young guys like Jason Robertson, Rupe Hintz. And then they got solid old guys like Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin, Joe Pavelski. Yeah, it works. I think that's a good team right there, and a lot of the experts at Sirius NHL XM picked Dallas to win the cup. And as soon as they went down 2-0, I'm sure they were like, "Oh boy, I just might have made myself look stupid."
Yeah, I would have picked them maybe to win the cup, but I think having them come out in this series would be a nice reflection for the division that we're playing in. So even though you don't want
for sure
somebody within your own division to be like, beat your team and as ousting your team, but still it represent that the old Central there.
Central's always been good. Yeah, Central's always been good.
Well, meat and potatoes. You want your meat and potatoes division to kind of still be kind of doing something beyond first round at least. So,
I honestly, it's weird if Dallas wins, the away teams are winning. So obviously no one wants to win a game at home. So there's always those little stories that you look at the weird numbers and the weird facts and stuff. But it'd be strange going back to Dallas then, and it's like, okay, are we going to go 7 and Dallas has got home ice advantage and are they going to lose it? So, well, that's interesting. I think I'm going to go with Dallas. I think they're going to win in 7 still. So let's jump over to your favorite Edmonton Oilers and the LA Kings. Edmonton leads 2-1. Connor McDavid leading the charge, obviously, with 9 points. Zach Hyman leading the team in goals. So 50 plus in the season, and he's continuing with 6 in the playoffs. This guy I'm a big fan of. Very likable guy. I took a lot of heat from some reject a couple weeks ago saying he's only a good hockey player because his parents are rich. Okay. Anyway, time for a new career. And we go to we go to LA. Adrian Kempe, 4 goals, or I'm sorry, 4 points, 3 goals, and Quentin Byfield, a youngster, with 4 assists. My question was, I didn't think Cam Talbot can hold the fort down with the Kings, but he's not bad. He had some good saves last game.
Yeah.
Stuart Skinner's obviously the man with the Oilers. I'm not really sold on the goaltending this series. I think it's going to go. They're going to outscore the problems, whoever it is. And let's see. Edmonton won the first game 7-4.
Okay.
Edmonton won the last game 6-1, and then they lost 5-4. So it's Edmonton is just, what is that? 14 goals in 3 games. That's just crazy. So
it's violent swing either way, So
yeah, I think Edmonton's just got too much firepower with McDavid and Draisaitl and even Evander Kane. Corey Perry, not sure. I haven't heard too much about him, but usually he comes alive in the playoffs, will show up and kind of steal the show from somebody and make him. There's a story about him hitting somebody or whatever and getting in someone's head. So
I never knew that. Never heard that. I mean,
well, I wish he was still a Hawk, and I don't know what the heck happened. We'll never know, but anyway. But
I missed him purely for the Corey Perry facts.
Yeah, but you know what? It's cool to see him in the playoffs. I'm sure he's happy to get that second chance, and it's got to be fun playing with McDavid. The dude's just a freaking monster. We're never going to see a player like him.
No,
every 30, 40 years.
Guys.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I got Edmonton winning the series. I still think they're probably going to win the next game and kind of put a little stranglehold on the Kings. Good for the Kings. I mean, they gut it out every year, and they seem to kind of squeak in, but they always run into the Oilers, and they're down to their last couple guys since facing the Hawks cores. I want to say Kopitar is still the captain, good player, Hall of Famer. Drew Doughty's still playing a lot of minutes, which is insane. So they got my respect, but they're just like a one and done kind of team.
Yeah,
but,
they're aging out of it at this point.
Yeah, they gotta. But you know what? They did it right. They kept their guys that got them there, and they got these young wave guys coming up, and they got Kopitar and Doughty kind of showing them the way, and when they're done, hopefully it's like you don't even miss a beat. You're still a good team. That's the way to run a franchise. So I really respect that.
Definitely.
So
respect that.
who do you got? Who do you got? Edmonton?
I'm taking Edmonton. In fact, honestly, Edmonton's kind of was my Western Conference final team. So
that's actually my pick too, man. I for some reason you can't count Connor out. I mean, the dude. He's got to get his name on that cup. You could tell he's hungry. He's doing everything he can, and I don't know why guys get on him like, oh, they're busts. Like, nah, dude, he'll make the first round. He'll make the second round. Maybe he'll get eliminated. He'll make it to the West Final. At least it's better than the Maple Leafs, man. These guys are like, they think that the parade, they plan it in October, and it's like, oh, you guys never even been past the second round. How do you take that serious? So.
Exactly.
At least they got experience. It's going to happen.
No, I think so too. I think also too for this, even just looking at the West, the West has changed. I used to say almost by default that the West was probably the cup contender would come from the West because it always had a grittier, like stronger brand of hockey, like a more intense game would come out of the West, and pretty much the momentum would carry in. But I think that with the last couple of years, the pendulum's really, really swung from the East. I feel like the major players got to come out of the East. So I'm expecting something from the East to happen, but I don't know if I've necessarily put my money down on what team that's going to be. But I mean, I think Edmonton's going to make a deeper run. But you would like to see McDavid get on the chalice there.
Oh yeah. He's gonna get on it, whether it's with the Oilers or not. He's gonna find a way on it for sure. But let's jump over to powerhouse teams. The Avalanche taking on the Jets. So that's let me see. I believe the Avs are up 3-1. And yeah, man, Connor Hellebuck. Yikes. You know, it's just
this series kind of
every year it
surprised
seems
me.
the
I
same,
thought,
man. Nashville North. Yeah.
really,
They had a good team, very good team, but hey, when you run into a Stanley Cup winning team, it's going to happen. You know, the Avs and Nathan McKinnon, they're monsters. And
the hot hand, you know.
I think Connor
It's the hot
Hellebuck
hand.
yeah, 3-1, that's oh man, that's going to be tough for the Jets to come back. And you know, when the Avalanche get Zach Parise and he's scoring goals, that's just a good depth team.
Yeah, that's his swan song this year too, allegedly, right? So, I mean, he's out there, he's in it to win it, because this is it.
Yeah, he's going for it. He's absolutely going for it. Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar are continuing to, you know, be elite guys in their positions, and I'm a Nathan McKinnon fan, man. I think he's a great player. He's so big, he could turn it up. He could turn the speed up like McDavid, and he'll just go right through you. It's got to be terrifying to be a defenseman against that guy. It's like, oh, geez. I remember Kirby Doc had an interview about covering him, and he was terrified the whole game. And honestly, I could see that, because the dude's he's just a freaking bull coming down at you. And you know what, man? I think this is gonna end next game. I think they're gonna beat the Jets 4-1 and move on to the next round.
Ooh, yeah. Hey, yeah.
Which is a shame, because I'm a big Hellebuck fan, but I think the Avs offense is just too much for him.
Yeah, this seems it's the wrong alignment in the stars for this one. So
yeah, way too much. And then we got to go to the boring series of the Nashville Predators snooze fest versus the Vancouver Canucks, which I don't mind.
Still have
Canucks
teams? I was unaware.
I don't mind. I don't mind this Canucks team at all. I did not like Ryan Kessler. I did not like all the Sedins. These guys, they don't bother me. I think they're a good skilled team. Even with their goaltender out, they're up 3-1.
Yeah.
And Quinn Hughes, very good defenseman. He's probably going to win the Norris this year. He's great plus minus, tons of points. I don't think they're Stanley Cup contenders yet, but I think that they're very close. Well coached by Rick Tocchet, you know, a former 90s great, 80s great, him. Kind of the coach I wish Davidson was a little tougher.
Yeah.
He's got that tough image. Nothing against the guy. Not Davidson, I'm sorry, Richardson. You know, I think he should be a little tougher and a little bit more emotion on the bench. Not like Tortorella crazy, but which I don't mind Torts, but just fight for your team a little bit more. Like if something ain't going right, get up there, even if it's not right.
Yeah.
Show them that you got your back. You know, don't just stand there like the old Colleton way, which you know, I just didn't like that.
That's a whole nother podcast. Yeah, absolutely.
That's awful time in Hawks history.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Coach Luke talking about the relaxing times and the wine and the fun stuff like that. But you know, if you're going to get in the Penguins dude on the bench there, and you look like Captain Blood, at least you can follow through with a little barking. Ain't gonna kill you.
Little bit more emotion. Fight for your team. A little enthusiasm on the bench. He looks so like he looks like a soldier. Like what's that movie with Kurt Russell? Universal Soldier. He's not allowed to smile. He's not allowed. You know what I mean? It seems like a great dude. I know a lot of the players like him. I like him too. I just wish there was a little bit more fight in him. You know, a little
he's
bit
definitely
more,
forging the prototype of a Rod Brindamore there. But you want to see. There have been a few times there in games where Richardson's shown a little, and it's like, yes, good, give me more.
Yes.
But you're right. You need a little more active there on the bench.
So let's get off topic for a minute.
Sure.
Who do you think the best coach is in the league? I hear crickets.
I know.
You're thinking, aren't you?
Yeah, I have to say, I know I'm using muscles that I never have to use. I have to push through all of the non-apology juice and everything else. But go ahead.
I think Cooper from Tampa is the best coach in the league.
Yeah.
Not because of the Cups, just because the Cups obviously help, but he, I don't hear a bad thing from him, even from opposing players, opposing coaches.
Yeah.
He's just a down to earth dude, grateful to be where he's at. Ultimate players coach, serious when he's got to be serious. Never, he wasn't panicking. They were down 3-0.
Yeah.
And he had a news conference. He was like, we've been here before, this isn't new for us. This, and I really respect that. And I really like him. I think he's the best, with probably Brendan Moore right there, but I think Brendan Moore's got to get to that Eastern Conference final and maybe even the final and win one.
I agree. And that's probably where my opinion would come into. I feel like, again, when you say something like who's the best coach, you usually have your tenured statistician, somebody who's maybe a little more technical in the game, and then you have those battle-tested former players who are now coaches, and they have control of the room. So I think I would agree with you on with Cooper's being around. He's been patient, being a student to it. But I also feel like you have coaches like Marty St. Louis and Rod Brindamore, where they definitely have every player's ear to attention in that room, and they're very relatable guys, great coaches. So
that's a great pick.
But
Marty St. Louis is a great pick.
So I think when stuff like that, and even to the extent when Patrick Waugh was coaching the Avs there for a while, even though he's an absolute madman, but guys like that, they know what winning is like, and they want to hold people accountable and things like that, and like they get a little rowdy and almost maybe a little too emotional, but at the same point, those guys, like, they know what success is, and they're trying to mold everybody to their point of view. So, it's commanding the room is a huge thing. So I think those guys, it's huge. So yeah, to your point, I think that, Hot Rod, he's got to get that to that next rung to kind of get that next accolade to say, you've moved a level in that profession. So,
he leveled up. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Hey, well, look at Patrick Waugh did, man. They brought him in from he had to take a couple of years off coaching, and he comes to the Islanders, a team that very flat. They got rid of their coach, and he got him into the playoffs, man. Yeah, and that's not easy to do with a team that can't score goals. And he was a goalie. I mean, it's crazy. He got him. Got him a routine, he got him a system, and they bought in, and that's a big win for the Islanders, getting a guy like that. And huge. They clearly they need the personnel, they need the goal scoring and stuff like that. But that was a great signing, great trading. That was a Lou Lamoriello move to get Patrick Waugh, ballsy, risky, and it paid off for him.
That's it. If you're going to have a vanilla team, you got to add some sprinkles to make it a little more exciting.
Yeah, and he shows the emotion, and, like you said, he's been there before, and he may be too emotional at times, but hey, it worked for him, and he's going to try to make it work for him on the island. So I think that they're not going to win, but good for them for even making it, because I didn't think they would. I thought they were going to run out of gas, but there's one thing that I forgot to talk about, and it's Blackhawk related. Okay. Our last subject here. So did you see the post Kaner made with the Red Wings?
No, I haven't.
He's not on Twitter a lot.
I know.
But he posted, "Thank you very much, Detroit."
Oh, yeah.
And it almost seemed like a goodbye. I don't know. Usually when you think you're going to resign with a team, it's kind of quiet until, a deal's done. Yeah. And it almost seems like my time here was great. I'll cherish the memories forever. It almost seems like, did we just break up type of thing? And I'm just wondering what you think. Do you think that door is open for the Blackhawks, or is he going to go get paid? Because the dude was a point-of-game player. I'm pretty sure you were at the Chelios night, right? Were you there?
No, I didn't.
I thought you were. Okay.
No, I wanted to, but no, I didn't end up pulling the trigger on that.
I mean, that'll be the only time... that'll be the only time a Red Wing is going to get cheered like that at the United Center.
Absolutely. I hope that never happens
that
again.
was unbelievable. And if Davidson doesn't call him to see what he's up to July 1st, then I think he's insane.
Yeah.
I think you bring Patrick Kane back for 2-3 years, let him finish as a Blackhawk. He got it off his he wanted to go for a cup, go for the playoffs, and so I got it out of my system. I've been there before. I'd rather play with Connor Bedard type of thing. I think they should try it.
I mean, you should definitely kick the tires on it. But here's sort of my take with that too. Kaner left on the pretenses that he wanted to win another cup, and he was playing with his boy, Artie, the bread man, and they were, by all means, at that point, the Blue Shirts were slated to be pretty much the walkaway winner in the East, and they got blown out by Jersey in the first round. So they fell flat and they lost. So he goes through that hip surgery and deals with that, comes back again because he's a genetic freak on healing, and he signs that, he sits in the weeds and he decides, I'm going to play in Detroit with DeBrincat.
With my other buddy.
And another buddy. And you got Larkin on that team, and you got some other young pieces. But again, you're missing some other character players, maybe consistent goaltending. And first he's kind of, the reports are he's kind of taking the room back a little bit. They've taken a couple steps back because he's kind of stymieing the chemistry that was on the team. But then, he starts showing flashes of who he is and the player that we know. And that whole tweet, if he doesn't re-sign with the Wings, honestly, I wouldn't be shocked, but I feel like the tweet is more of a bargaining chip because he only came on for this year. They haven't picked up any additional time on him. So this might be just a chip. Just kind of be like, well, if it doesn't work out, it was nice playing, but playing coy, and so we get him some extra money. But at the same point, he would, at this point, really you questioning okay, he's had 2 chances to go to teams young teams or contender type teams to win something, and they're all going out first round, or they're not making it. They're right on the bubble and bubble pop. So does he stick around? What's his 5-year plan? Is he going to say to myself, hey, I'm going to stay in, the Dirty D and let this team shape up, and then I can win one more? Do I go to another contender? Do I say, hey, somebody else's, my veterans clause, hey, I'd be willing to go to this team, and are they going to do a Vegas Mark Stone cap purge, clear to get a guy in and do, is he the clutch piece, or does he come back and just say, hey, what he should have done? People could argue what he did the first time. He could have just stayed and I have won my 3 cups in 6 years, and now I'm going to go for team records. I'm just going to start burying the record books there and play with young talent. And then who knows? Maybe does it shave time off of the picture there? So I mean, I don't. If the numbers were right, absolutely, I would still boo him, but I would still appreciate him being back to the Hawks. But I mean, I think Davidson should consider talking and see what it would take. But if, despite we're going to move on, we're a couple years removed here now, so the picture's changed a little. So, okay, at least inquire on him, kick the tires on it. But it would make for an interesting development for sure. But I almost think that the tweet was kind of placed into maybe a bargaining chip if he were to stay in Detroit.
That's a good take, actually. I like that. I think he comes home. I think he's got a little guy. His wife's from here, and she's probably going to be like, you know what? I did what you wanted to do. Now let's go home. Go play with the Hawks. You're close to home.
Because she still lives there. I think there's the son and him are still Chicago based, right?
I believe they have a house in Lake Forest. I want to say.
Yeah, I saw something
like that. Beautiful house that they were actually showing, and it almost seemed like, Kaner just built a house in bought a house in Lake Forest. It's like, is he coming back? No, he's not coming back yet. Okay, no. So, we'll have to see, man. It's going to be interesting July 1st. But so you got anything else, dude?
No, I think this has been a ton of fun.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate you guys having me in here. It's been a long time.
I appreciate you helping me out. And Mike's going through the home buying process. He's got told me he's living in boxes, so he's going to be busy for a while. I appreciate the help and you coming on to talk some playoffs with me, man, and some little Blackhawk talk.
It's all good,
and hopefully we'll have you on again. It's been fun.
Absolutely, I've had a blast, and yeah, we got to have a whole tribunal here soon too.
We got to have a roundtable discussion pretty soon, and well, hopefully it's with some Labats, and we could maybe we could talk, Final Four. We'll talk the Western Conference Final and Eastern Conference Final. We'll get something going.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Well, thanks again, man. And this is the Tomahawk, and we are out of here.